Hello everyone and welcome back to the Chariot series again with myself, Critical Rocket, and here we are with the Wolverine 8C. Now, as you may know from watching the series, is that the C variants of mechs are generally Kuritan builds, although very few, if any, I think, are in MechWarrior Online, and the main reason for this is because the C stands for the C3 slave unit, which is largely used by Kuritan. It was a means for Lance commanders to share their targeting data with all of the mechs that were slaved to the primary system. So in the case of this Wolverine, it would be the controller of that system and sharing all of its targeting and other telemetry data between all of his lance mates, which would allow, say, the support fire mech to lock LRMs and fire over a hill. That kind of thing. In MechWarrior Online, however, every mech just has C3 inbuilt, so if someone targets a mech at the other end of the map, you can see it. And so I guess that's the reason PGI have never bothered adding any of these variants, because it's a piece of tech that's not in the game. I think, personally, it should have been in there. It would have been interesting as a nice piece of role warfare equipment, allowing players who wanted to maybe gain bonuses from being the unit master of using a C3 system would be able to gain bonuses for friendlies in his lance locking things, doing damage, that kind of stuff. But sadly not. It makes sense for gameplay, I suppose. This model is built on the 8K. It has a large pulse, a small pulse, and a medium pulse, and focuses largely on its arm-mounted weaponry, with a single weapon in the head, as most Wolverines have. The main punch of this one is actually its 2 streak 6s, I'd say. The large pulse is supposed to be its primary weapon, which would be the case on tabletop because of being able to fire every round and doing fairly decent damage for a little extra spike in heat. But the streak 6s in this are the main reason to take it. As we all know, in the realm of the piranha and things like the flea and the locust, streaks are pretty handy to have, and thus it makes this mech quite desirable as a light hunter, especially with its speed that can come into play. About 88 kph. It's supposed to have an XL engine, but I'm using it with a light engine. You don't really need the XL to get this thing going. Plus, it helps a lot anyway, because XL engines are a death sentence on certain mechs, so Wolverine is no exception to that. So, I quite like it, although it's... I'm not as big a fan of the large, the medium, and the small. I would have liked to have still used a version that had its trusty AC. But much like the 8K, this one works quite well, being able to get in very close and just brawl. With its jump jets as well, it means you can use cover, hop over, and get behind bigger targets and just do a nasty amount of damage into the rear CT or side torsos, and really open up targets. And this match, I thought it was going to go wrong for us at the start, because it was one of those classic New River City standoffs at the beginning where everyone just kind of sits at one end of the map and hopes that the other team will snipe and trade shots with them, and whoever has the best sniping ability was going to be the winner. Luckily, the team decided to filter across slowly, but we did manage to get the whole team across the river itself, and actually, sorry, did I say river? Sorry, I meant frozen. But yeah, we managed to get the whole team across the frozen section, and then it turned into a pretty nasty brawl. At one point, I got pinned behind a building because there was no way I was stepping out in front of some of the stuff that was coming after me. But the streaks did come in handy. In fact, there it was. Taking out a piranha, so stop that little bastard from running around and basically harassing all of our bigger mechs. So yeah, it's good at that. If you haven't taken a streak build Wolverine out, this actually works quite well. Not as well as things like obviously the assassin, which you can mount multiple streak launchers on, that kind of thing. But if you want a mech that's a bit sturdier and has the options for a little more firepower, this is a good option. You could probably obviously swap down the streaks to 4s if you wanted a little more fire rate instead. I wouldn't go to 2s though, because at that point you may as well just use something that's like the assassin that will just allow you to carry and boat more of them, or even the Arctic Wolf Prime. But the benefit of this one is that the right arm carries the 2 bigger weapons of the energy side, which means you've got a nice section there for just picking pinpoint fire shots, and then your streak launchers are good when you're chasing down a light or a medium that's in pretty bad shape. So yeah, I'd recommend having a go with the 8C if you haven't built it already. You can obviously just use the 7K chassis, and yeah, go from that. I will also be doing a video of the 8K as well, and because for some reason that was ignored. not quite sure why. It's one of those things where it could have been added at a later date. PGI could have added this extra variant in just as a C-bill one that you could buy. Maybe these variants could have been added as rewards in faction play, for instance, since so many of them are focused around specific factions. Obviously, this one being Kuritan, the same as the 8K, for instance. Hey, you rank up a certain amount in faction play, and you unlock the ability to buy that variant of the mech in the game. I don't know how much extra work that would have been for PGI, but I think it would have given a little bit more incentive maybe for people to play faction and get themselves some extra mech variants unlocked, which obviously extra mechs mean extra hardpoint configurations, because you could have inflated it however they wanted to make it more desirable. You could have gone from there, you know. People love unlocking stuff in games. It's been a proven method. I mean, you just look at games like Battlefield, for instance, lots of grinding to unlock weapons, weapon attachments, that kind of thing. Could have done the same here, grinding to unlock mech variants in faction play, get more people playing it. Since it was the mode that PGI wanted to be the mode that most of the community went to, yeah, sadly it didn't happen that way. But the round was good, it was fun, and I quite like the variant. Also, there's a bee bouncing off of some window. Anyway, have a good one all. Thanks for watching, have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!